I decided that I'm gonna go to the gym, but it's flippin' raining. What the heck, Rexburg? At least that means it's warm, right? Here we go. And that's a wrap. Oh, look. All right. You ready, Lily?
What's up?
So, G.
What's up?
All right, guys. Welcome back. Today we have a special guest. My husband.
Hello.
This is Sam. Today we're going to be talking about marriage and mental illness.
I know she didn't introduce you.
Oh, and this is Lily.
I'm proud to.
Sorry, Lily.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. But yeah, so I have depression, and Sam struggles with a little bit of anxiety as well. And so we thought we'd just explain kind of what we've learned through it all and some things that we feel are important when it comes to marriage and mental illness. So let us begin. Thank you to everyone who answered my Instagram story and Facebook story about questions you had about marriage and mental illness. All right, here we go. Are you ready, Sam?
Yes.
Are you ready, Lily? Oh yeah, she's spitting, and that means yes.
Yes.
Okay. So number one, how do you support your spouse through their low points?
I think that's a really good question. I mean, obviously, regardless of mental illness, your spouse is going to have low points. It's not as if people without depression never have bad days, but definitely when you struggle with depression, anxiety, or anything like that, those low points might be a little harder to get out of. And so I think a really important thing that we learned early on when we're having just a rough day is you're not trying to fix the problem. If Haley's having a rough day, it's not going to help for me to sit down and talk to her about how it's silly to have a rough day, or talk to her about it's not my job, and she doesn't want me to try to fix her problems for her. She just wants to be listened to.
All right, so someone asked how I told him about my depression and how he helped me, and was it hard to explain? So actually, if you watch watch my story if you haven't, but he is actually the one that came to me and said, hey, you might have depression.
Hey, you messed up.
Hey, you have a little something going on in your head there.
Yeah.
Because I was really sad. I didn't know what was going on. Sam didn't know what was going on, and he knew something was up, but didn't. And maybe you thought maybe it could be depression.
Because I'd had depression before.
Yeah, so
I've had it.
You kind of saw it, but then it wasn't until he talked to his dad, who's a doctor, and his dad suggested, maybe it's depression. And then Sam actually came to me one night and said, hey, what if it's depression? And so that's kind of how it went. And I took it pretty well. Like, obviously it's not something you want to hear.
You were happy.
But I was happy to put a name with what I had, because I knew then there would be ways that I can combat it and get help, things like that. But I mean, if you need to tell your spouse that you have a mental illness, I don't know, what do you think would be the best way to
I'm trying to imagine what it would be like if I hadn't noticed and you just had to come sit down and talk to me. It shouldn't be a big deal. I think is the thing, is don't feel like it's just this huge, awful, life-altering thing, because it's not. Depression, anxiety, these types of things, it's just, everyone struggles with something.
Right.
And if that's your thing, then your spouse, I feel like your spouse should be the one person in the world, hopefully there's more than one person, but they should be the person that you are not even worried about talking to about that. Your spouse should be the person that you're just going to go to with that immediately and say, look, I think this might be what it is.
And if they don't understand, hopefully they will ask you questions, or you can both go to a certified counselor or somewhere that you can find out exactly what depression is or what anxiety is or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing, is don't diagnose yourself.
Right. It's easy to want to do that.
Yeah, not to trivialize, but a lot of times I think we can feel that we have a disorder when in reality we're just going through some crap, and it's hard. And so definitely don't self-diagnose yourself. go see a physician for sure.
Right.
I mean, talk to your spouse first, but go see a physician.
And I did do a video about some of the, what are they called?
Symptoms.
I did do a video about some of the symptoms that are common with depression. So if you want to go look at that, you can get a better idea about maybe if you have depression or not. Obviously, like Sam said, it's personal, but go check that out. Next question. How do you not feel guilty about being a burden to your spouse?
I think that one's tough.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
Is with my anxiety, and I'm pretty perfectionist, and so I have a hard time not feeling like a burden a lot to, I mean, in any phase of life. But I think the important thing is you're not going to feel like a burden if you're doing the best you can to be positive yourself.
And I mean, one thing you could do if you do feel like a burden is look for ways to serve your spouse or whoever you feel a burden to, your parents or whoever it might be, your roommates. Look to serve them, because I feel like that's a good way to even out, like, I don't know. It's a good way to feel like you're not a burden as much because you are serving and helping others around you. Go potty.
What's going on? Did she abandon us? I don't know if she's ever coming back. We have to begin our new life together. I will change my name to Morpheus, and you shall be Jackhammer. Together we shall rule the world. I know, it's gonna be hard. Oh, never mind, she's coming back.
Oh, jeez. Next question.
That's a little excessive.
Always. Okay, so this one was ways your spouse can help you overcome mental illness. I think we kind of already covered that. But specifically, for me, like we said, it was just like cuddling me and like just laying with me, letting me cry, not trying to fix it, or like taking me out to get like an ice cream, or just something simple and easy. Or if, like for Sam, he said, you know, I just need alone time. And so for me, even though that was really hard and I wanted to be there and help him, I just said okay and let him have his alone time and did my own thing. Yeah. Just ask what you can do, and if they don't know, then just be there and hold them and listen.
But it can be hard because when we're going through those stages, if you have depression or you have anxiety, when you're going through those phases where you're feeling really depressed, you don't really know what's best for you in those moments. You might not necessarily know. And so as a spouse, when Haley's going through something, you kind of have to be in tune with, okay, what does she say that she wants versus what I know she actually needs? But it can be tough to balance that out with not being overbearing.
Right.
You know, because you can't say, oh, you know, screw whatever you said, I'm going to do what I think you need.
Yeah.
But at the same time, being like, okay, if...
I know she's learned to grab the lips.
Yeah, so it can be tough to find that balance between respecting what your spouse wants, but also doing what you know they need.
Right. Yeah, there's so many times where he's like, what can I do? What do you need? And I don't know. And so he was really good at just knowing that usually I like to be cuddled or given a treat or, you know, get me out of the house or whatever it was.
Yeah. Often if she's in those fits, I'll just look at her and be like, okay, sit down. And she'll sit down and be like, this is how the next 20 minutes are going to go. You are going to get dressed and you're going to put on whatever makes you feel pretty, and then we're going to go out and get a chicken sandwich at McDonald's or something. It's like $2, but it makes her feel better.
It does. It really does. It feels nice, at least for me. When I have my like depression spells, it feels nice to have someone else take charge because I don't want to think and I just don't know the answers. So someone also asked, this doesn't have to do necessarily with marriage, but I think it definitely applies. How do you handle the anxiety and the stress of the prospect of the future? Good question. Still trying to figure it out.
I think that gets harder too. As you know, right now we're getting towards the end of college. And that's kind of when, I don't want to say that's when life starts because, you know, life started a long time ago, but that's when you that's really when you have to start depending on yourself completely. And so for me, with my anxiety, that's kind of one of the sources of it is fear of the future. It can be tough and it can induce a lot of anxiety. And so one of the things that helps me is in those moments, I just kind of realize, you know what, I can't control 10 years from now. I'm not there, I'm here. And so what helps me not worry about the future is just say, okay, what do I need to get done today? And and just do it. So for me, I've got a planner that I like to, I just write down my daily tasks in. And so if I ever am feeling anxiety about the future, I just will open this up and get done everything I need to get done for that day. And I found that when I've gotten done everything that I need for that day, when I've done all of my homework and I've taken care of all of our finances and I've, read the scriptures and done all the things that I feel like I need to do for that day, I don't feel as much anxiety about the future because I feel accomplished. So
Yeah.
I found that the dread of the future is often accompanied by me feeling like I'm being lazy. But that's
Right.
just me. Say, I want my dad.
Yeah, she wants you. And we are Christian, so a lot of our stress, I guess, we turn to God or Heavenly Father, and we know that He is in control, and He's always there to help us because He loves us. So that takes a lot of our stresses as well. All right, a few more. How do you help your spouse understand it's not just being sad, it's depression?
That's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah, I think just a lot of it's just communication. I don't know. When I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I knew it wasn't just sadness, because at first we're like, well, just think of the positive or whatever it might be. But that never helped. And so sitting down or just telling Sam, like, that's not helping me, like explaining the process of, like, I can think through things and I know that things are really bad. Or, I mean, not that. Explaining to him that I can think through things and I know that things are really good, but my emotions feel like they're separate from what I'm thinking. So my emotions, I still feel super sad and hopeless, even though I know, like, things are good. So I don't know, just communicating, and hopefully your spouse will understand that and trust you.
Oh, there we go. There's some smiles.
Last one. Woo, woo. Baby, can you last for one more? Sorry, we had to pause and feed the child. But yeah, so our next question is, how can we be better communicators in our marriage? How can we better communicate?
That's a really good question.
It is a very important question as well.
Yeah.
I was not a good communicator when we first got married. Sam was. I was not. I felt like these are my problems and I don't want to burden Sam with them, and I'll keep them to myself and solve them for myself. And obviously that's not how marriage works. How marriage works.
Marriage.
Marriage.
Yeah, and don't feel like you're going to be perfect at it, especially if you're in the beginning of your marriage. It takes time. I mean, we've only been married for 3 years.
Right.
It's not been, that long, but
We're still learning.
so I feel like if you're in a new relationship, if you're engaged or just dating, or if you're newly married,
Or you have roommates, whatever.
you can tell that you're moving in the right direction if you're trying. And if you're asking the question, how can we communicate better? I feel like you're moving in the right direction. I feel like this, I don't know. For me, this one's not very hard. It's just talk to each other. That's it. It's not, communication with your spouse is not a hard thing to do. I suppose it can be a hard thing to do, but it's not complicated. It's just talk.
It's hard, especially too, if, at least for me, if I allow pride into our relationship, then I don't want to talk to him about certain things, or I feel like I don't know, I feel like I can handle things or whatever it might be. But really, in a relationship, you're an open book, so everything should be open to your spouse, especially if you have mental illness. Yeah. That's the time where you need to communicate. Something that Sam did that was really helpful is each day he'd ask me, how are you feeling today? And I'd let him know, like, okay, today I'm feeling really sad, or, today I'm feeling a lot better. And even now that I have my medication, I'll let him know when the days come up when I'm not feeling great, and I'll be like, okay, just so you know, I'm feeling emotional today, and he'll be careful to do those things that help me and not be crazy.
Yes. Not be crazy.
Not be crazy. But I mean, even with a mental illness, I think communication is the exact same. You have to be open. I mean, the person with the illness and the person who's supporting.
Yeah. But I feel like in the end, with tying all the questions together, the worst thing that you can do is blow it up to be an issue that's bigger than it is. I struggle with mental illness, so does Haley, and it's easy to make it seem like that's a huge deal. Your mental illness doesn't define you. It doesn't define your relationship. I mean, it can. You can let it define your relationship, but it's
not good.
It shouldn't. You shouldn't let that define your relationship. And we have a tendency to do that. You know,
Yeah.
in your mind you say, hi, I'm Haley and I have depression, or hi, I'm Sam and I have anxiety. It's something that you struggle with, but it's not who you are. It's not part of, I mean, I suppose it's a part of you, but it's not a part of your identity. It doesn't have to be.
Right. It's not you. It's just
Yeah.
something you have.
Yeah, and like I said, it can be easy for us to blow it up bigger than it is because we want that attention. But I think the healthiest thing that you can do is see it for what it is. It's just a struggle that you have, and you can deal with it. You know, you can come together as a couple and get through it together.
Mm-hmm. Whether it be going to counseling together or
Yeah.
discussing medication or any other way you want to go about doing it. And you are together forever, so
Forever.
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 So you better talk to each other and figure it out.
Yep. But just
But
talk.
you got this.
You can do it.
It's easy.
We believe in you.
Well, it can be easy.
It's hard. Yeah,
It's hard.
It's hard, but it's not. It's hard, but it's not complicated.
Right,
I
you
think.
can do it. Anyone can do it.
It's very simple.
You just gotta put forth the effort.
Yeah.
Maggie, what are you doing,
Hello.
silly?
Come here.
Oh, she felt left out.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in again.
Yes.
I will have another video up Wednesday. Let me know if there's anything that you want to see in particular. Let me know down below. And don't forget to subscribe and to like the video if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.